Let's talk about why it seems like your back isn't healing after it's been injured. Now, we know when you have something like a paper cut or you like get a sunburn or anything in those times, it's kind of like you just stay away from the thing that hurts and then it just slowly feels better. So same with if you bumped yourself, got a bruise, if you got food poisoning, just like don't eat bad things, stay out of the sun, and then eventually things sort of turn around and they obviously get better. Let's say now we're in a situation where you're like fall and break a bone. So if you cast it so the bone can't move, you wait and the bone will eventually union and come together. Or if it's been broken too far apart for whatever reason, then you might have to have surgery and they can put the bones sort of back together. Now the x-rays and imaging is helpful here because it tells us if the intervention that we're using is actually helpful and what would be the ideal treatment for that bone break. So now let's go back to back pain. Typically if someone has chronic back pain, they usually have gone through something prior to the event that led them to having chronic pain. So typically if we look at a graph here and there's pain on the left and time on the bottom, you'll have one episode and it'll last a couple days, and then there's years in between another episode, and then you have another bad back pain episode that lasts a few days. But here's sort of what happens. Eventually there becomes an episode where you have it and then it never really goes away. It just sort of stays there. And you might be thinking like, why am I not healing, right? I'm resting it, I'm letting it heal, just like the paper cut, just like the sunburn, just like the food poisoning, yet I'm still in pain. It's there. So then I want to see what's happening. Is it not healing? Maybe I don't have the right diagnosis. Maybe I'm not getting the right treatment for it. So then that's when we start to look at imaging. We're like, oh, maybe it's because of that herniated disc and it simply doesn't heal, which is not actually the case, but that might be what you're thinking. So the process between the relationship of time and pain when you're in chronic pain, to get out of it, it looks a little bit more like this. So if we look up close and what does it look like from day to day or from morning to evening, it's still sort of wild. It doesn't really look like much is happening, so you still have these episodes that are pretty bad, even as you have some times that are better. But if we step back, get like the 10,000 foot view, and we look at it from week to week or maybe even month to month, in this case, it looks a little bit more like as if you're looking at a Wall Street graph. It's trending in the direction you want, but from day to day, it doesn't really look like there's that big of a change. So it's really a time situation. You have to step back. So the pain of healing and the relationship of time don't really line up the same way in this case.